Welcome back and thanks so much for joining in for this episode today. So it's March 2021, which means that not only is the December holidays a distant memory away, but for most of us working professionals in South Africa, we've been in working from home mode for the last year. Yeah. For the last 12 months, we've been in this situation of waking up at home, working from home the entire day, and then going to sleep at home. And there's just no break in the day. We've been doing it for day in and day out. So not only may you be feeling that your motivation levels are a little bit low, but you may also be finding that your productivity and efficiency levels are going down and you're finding it really difficult to get through everything that is on your to-do list. So I thought that in today's video, I would share how I use the Trello application to plan my daily to-do list and make sure that I'm executing and ticking off every single thing and boosting my efficiency day in and day out. Now, before we get into it, if you are new around here, this channel is all about how to thrive in career and life. So if you like this video, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up at the end. I can't say thumbs, a big thumbs up at the end, and maybe even subscribe to my channel if you like what you're seeing. Now, before I show you how to set up your Trello board, I just want to say that Trello is a free application. There is, of course, a premium version that allows you access to extra features, but the free version is sufficient enough to enable you to do what you need to do. So let me record my screen and I'll show you over here how to set up your Trello board. Now, look at this. Like, is this not just the most beautiful thing you have ever seen? I mean, this is like a to-do list for junkies. It's just such a pretty and creative way to organize all of your tasks. And you know that feeling where you just have all these things on your to-do list and it's different projects and different things that you're driving. Maybe some is within your career, some are like things that you're doing on the side, and it's just so overwhelming. Well, this is where Trello is amazing because it's a place where you can store everything and take it out of your head, you know? So basically we want to go about setting up 6 lists. I know it sounds like a lot, but I promise there is some theory behind having this kind of approach. So we want to be systematic in how we're going about planning our days. Now, the first list we want to create is a backlog. And this is basically where, you know, you come up with these ideas where it's like, okay, this is actually something that I should look at, but I don't necessarily have time to do it now, or it's not urgent. I have other things that are more urgent, but I don't want to forget about it. And I need to find a place to store it so that I can come back to this later. That is basically where you store all of those kinds of items on your backlog. Then the next column you want to create is deliverables for this week. Now, if you have multiple projects, or if you're also in, like, similar to management consulting, we only work on one case at a time, but then we will have a number of work streams that we'll be working on within that case. So you can organize your deliverables this week according to your projects, or you can organize it according to your work streams. Now, you can then have a deliverable that you create here and a list within there of the subtasks that are required in order to basically deliver on that deliverable. Now, as I've got here an example, we have create YouTube video on Trello, right? So I love this. So here's my card. This is a deliverable that I have to do for this week, for example, and you can assign members, but basically if you're using this in a team environment, you can assign team members to each of the tasks. You can create labels. Now, basically with labels, this is very useful. Like, obviously it does add some color, which is nice, but how you can organize and differentiate between tasks that are more important versus ones that are not as urgent, but you do need to get them done at some point. So we'll have red as P1 items, orange as P2 items, and green as P3 items. So what you want to be striving for, if this is planning for a week's horizon or for a daily basis, you want to make sure that you're getting through your P1 and your P2 items. And if it's a P3, it's like you'll get to it if you have a moment, but it's not necessarily critical for really moving the needle on your to-do list. You can, of course, also maybe decide to add additional labels for your projects or for your work streams to help you organize. Then, as I said, you can create a checklist within your deliverable item, and then as you go about it, you can tick it off. Like, how cool is that? And then it shows you your progress on that deliverable, right? So if I close this here, you can see, oh, I've got a list of 7 things I need to do, and I've already ticked off one of that. And you track this as the week goes on. The third list is, and you can potentially, you can see whether you need this column or not, but this is where you can list items to do this week. Sometimes you'll have items that you've listed, so tasks you've listed under doing for today, which you don't get to, maybe like a P3 item or something else that's more urgent crops up, and you realize you don't actually have enough time to do this today. Let's move it to do this week. So you're keeping track of things that need to be done this week that ideally should all be linked to your deliverables that you have due for the week. So you have doing, then this other column here called roadblocked is actually very useful for if you have items that you are dependent on other people for in order to move the need. So if you have a report and you've submitted it to your manager, you can then move that item. So if it's like draft report, right? Now I've drafted my report, I've sent it to my manager, and I'm awaiting feedback. So now you can track activity on each of this. You can say submitted to manager, awaiting feedback. And now you know where you stand on each of your tasks, right? And then once you've completed your task, you move it to the done list. Like, how amazing is that? And then at the end of each day, you can archive all the cards on this list, and then you just start all over again. Where it becomes incredibly useful is if you actually use this as a tool to align with your manager or your supervisor on the items that you have on your to-do list. Often people will, come with a new instruction, be like, hey, can you do this? And it shouldn't necessarily mean that you should just add it to your to-do list for the day. This is where you can visibly show your manager, hey, these are all the items I have on my to-do list for today. These are the items that I think are the priority items, so my P1s and my P2s. Firstly, do you agree on that? And then secondly, just want to let you know, like what is this new task in terms of priority relative to the ones that I have on my to-do list. Is higher priority, then you can say, okay, well then I'm going to deprioritize this item that I currently have marked as a P2, and I'm going to do that tomorrow, and that item can be moved to do this week list. Anyways, so this is how I use the Trello app to manage my tasks and to make sure that I'm delivering on my key deliverables each week. I hope that you found this useful, and I'd love to hear from you. If you're already using Trello or you do decide to use it and you find that it's helpful, then please leave that in the comments down below. And actually, if you have another app that's even better than Trello, then please do let me know as well, because I'd love to learn. I'm all about finding tools that just make my life so much easier and allow me to achieve more. So that's it on Trello today. In my next video, I'm going to be chatting about how I go about managing my energy levels, because I've also found that that has been super important to make sure that I'm always in a productive and efficient mood. So that's it from me today, guys. Thank you so much again for joining in, and do join in for the next one. Bye!